Hi, and welcome to Focal Point with Brian Fisher. Glad to have you back. Free for all Friday. Talk about anything you want. 888-589-8840. Going to go right back to the phones. Before we do, let's grab clip number 10. This is Ron Fournier. Ron Fournier is a journalist with a website called the National Journal, which leans way to the left. Now, Harry Reid has been out there trying to demonize the Koch brothers. And he's been out there telling one lie after another about the Koch brothers. In fact, he's been using his Senate website to do it, which is illegal. It's a violation of Senate rules to use your official Senate page to attack anybody. But he's right out there doing it. And even Democrat Senator Joe Manchin said, look, he's got to cut this out. You don't beat up people. This is what Joe Manchin said. He's a Democrat. He works for Harry Reid alongside him. I don't agree with their politics or philosophically, but you know they're Americans. They're paying their taxes. This type of rhetoric does not help us move this country or the agenda forward. Talking about the Koch brothers, who are wealthy businessmen. They've given money to Barb Landrieu, for instance. Mary Landrieu down in Louisiana. She's out there running anti-Koch ads. They gave her $50,000 since 2000. And including in this election cycle, the last election cycle, she got money from the Koch brothers. She took money from the Koch brothers. And now she's out there trying to campaign against the Koch brothers. And Harry Reid is telling bald-faced lies. It's actually $55,000 she got from the Koch brothers. And Harry Reid is out there telling lies on his own official website and in ads about the Koch brothers. And here's Ron Fournier. This is a liberal journalist now. Here's what he had to say, clip 10.
Shame on us if we in the media let him get away with this. First of all, his PAC has its own wealthy billionaires who are donating to him. Second of all, the ad is false, outright false. Representative Cassidy actually fought against the Koch brothers here. That's not pointed out in the ad. The ad is a lie. Third, this is the third time in a row that Harry Reid's PAC has had an ad that's been labeled patently false by the Washington Post. He is making facts up. He is lying. And eventually that's going to come around and get you. Even in this media environment we have now, I got to believe that Stephen's wrong and the Democrats will pay a high price for lying in these Senate ads. They're lying.
They're lying. They're lying in these Senate ads. Even the Washington Post giving them 4 Pinocchios. Washington Post saying, Harry Reid, you are lying through your teeth. Let's go back to the phones. Let's grab a call from Rick in Maynard, Minnesota. Rick, welcome. What's on your mind? Rick, are you with me? Rick.
Yes.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm glad we got you. Yeah, thanks for calling. Thanks for waiting. Go right ahead.
I wanted to comment on the Nevada situation, and I've been following this for the last few days, and this whole tortoise thing just seemed to be kind of strange. And so I did some investigating, and I think there should be some other people out there investigating that there's been a big gas and oil find out there, and that I think it has more to do with the oil and natural gas that's out there than it has to do with any tortoises.
So you think they're just using, they're obviously using this desert tortoise as an excuse for this power grab and this oppression. But what you're saying is the real hidden agenda here may be that there are oil resources on that land, and this is a part of the Obama administration's effort to shut down drilling and to reduce our ability to provide for our own energy needs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and I think it probably goes more directly to Harry Reid, who is from Nevada. So I think there's a heck of a lot more to this story than what's being said as we're getting from the reports.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, that's a good call, and I think you may very well be right. I think clearly there is a political agenda that is at work here. I know in Idaho, this was a constant problem in Idaho, where I'm from, because I think in Idaho, 63% of all the land in Idaho is owned by the federal government. The nationwide is 28%. This is absurd. This is absolutely absurd for the federal government to own more than 25% of the land in the United States. This is absurd. This is not what the Founding Fathers had in mind. That land is in the states. That land should belong to the states. It's state land. It's inside their sovereign borders. It ought to be under the control of the individual states, according to the form of government that the founders left to us. They would be appalled at this showdown in Nevada. They would be absolutely appalled. They would be aghast. They said, look, this is the whole reason we declared our independence from the crown, because this is what King George III, this is the kind of stuff he was doing to us. And we were determined to set up a new form of government, and we were determined to make sure that that central government would never be allowed to perpetuate the kind of abuses that King George III did. And this is exactly what we've got out there in Nevada. All right, let's go to Bill. Thanks, Rick, for the call. Let's go to Bill, Grants Pass, Oregon. Bill, welcome. What's on your mind?
It's Phil.
Phil, all right, go right ahead.
That's right. But yes, a couple of days ago you were talking about the smart guns, and that won't fire unless you have like the bracelet or whatever.
Yeah, that was that's just to set the stage there. Eric Holder was saying, "Look, I want people to wear bracelets, and this bracelet will have some kind of have some kind of receiver in it. So the only person that can fire the gun is somebody who's in close proximity to that bracelet." And I said, "Hey, it's criminals that wear bracelets. I mean, that's how we track people on probation and parole." Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but it's not that big. It's basically a little computer chip. It's like what you would put into your pet. So if it's lost or stolen, they scan it. It will show that it belongs to somebody else. It's just that small. It can go into a little ring that can fit on your finger, or just like a bracelet that for people who have penicillin allergies. Just into something that small. Yeah, it's not like a big old bracelet. If you were holding a smart gun, my smart gun, and I had the ring on, it would not fire if I was standing next to you. It would have to be basically in my hand for it to fire.
Well, and I guess, Phil, the problem for me is not the size of the bracelet. It's the concept. It's the principle. Now, I have no problem if somebody wants to buy a bracelet like that. They make a voluntary choice. I'm going to buy a bracelet like that to make sure that nobody can fire this gun except for me. I could see why somebody might want to do that. If they have children in the home, it'd be an extra layer of protection. I can understand that. But what I object to is the government forcing people to wear bracelets and treating them like they're criminals, like they're on parole. That's where I have a problem.
Yeah, and also, too, I'm a retired vet, 21 years, and letting all the soldiers on there carry weapons so if somebody would start to shooting, they could fight back.
Yeah.
Trust me, I get concealed, get some cover over me. I can pop off 16, 30 rounds before you get a shot back off at me, because first thing you're going to want to do is get cover, because those rounds are flying. And then you're going to scan to see where they're coming from. But by that time, I can be up, move to another location, and start firing again. If you want to train a group of men, a company, a squad, highly train them to carry the weapons to, do this and have them positioned around, and I can see that. But giving everybody a weapon like that, nah, because if you have a formation, company formation, somebody gets on the rooftop, you're just going to be utter chaos.
Well, again, I guess the question I've got, Phil, is how do these soldiers, how do they defend themselves if they aren't allowed to carry on a base, and you get a guy like this Ivan Rodriguez that gets loose with a gun that shouldn't even be on the base, but he gets in there with one and he starts randomly shooting people? I mean, it sounds to me like you're saying our soldiers are just sort of cannon fodder for somebody like that. How do they defend themselves?
No, I'm not saying that. Like I say, though, you're going to have more deaths if you do that. Like you highly train them. You have stricter searches when you come on the base. I mean, you can do it random. I mean, you can do a lot of other stuff other than letting everybody carry a weapon, because there's some jobs, trust me, trying to work with that M16 on your back is going to be a real hard task.
All right. Well, I appreciate your call, Phil. And, we're hearing from more than one vet basically saying the same thing, that they think it would be a disaster to have soldiers carrying weapons on a base. And I have never served in the military, so I'm not in a position to speak from my own personal experience. I'm just speaking more from the standpoint of what seems to me to be rational, what seems to work. We're looking at Chicago. Their homicide rate's the lowest it's been in 56 years. Why? Because people are allowed now in Chicago for the first time in 56 years or whenever to carry concealed weapons. So the bad guys have no way of knowing who's armed to defend themselves, protect themselves, so they don't even try. So anyway, I've we've had the statement from one of the founding fathers, I believe it's George Washington, and armed citizenry is a polite citizenry. And so I think I'm still going to be in favor. I understand, and it's interesting hearing from military folks, from vets who say, look, this is a bad idea. I think I still am for it, and I think we ought to be able to find a way to make it happen. All right, number to call, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. Let's grab clip number 3 if we can, Rob. This is Cheryl Atkinson. Well, let's see. Now, we don't have time to squeeze that one in. We're going to run out of time if we do that. So why don't we, let me see. I want to grab another clip. Let's grab clip number 6. This is Rob Lowe, who's a Hollywood actor. He's on O'Reilly's program, and sometimes you get political wisdom coming from really strange sources. Rob Lowe, Hollywood pretty boy, been an actor for a long time, saying basically, I'm so good looking that it's a handicap for me. That's Rob Gardner's problem his whole life, so he can identify with Rob Lowe. But, Rob's on Bill O'Reilly's program, and it's amazing where political wisdom comes from. Let's listen.
You also have said in your promoting this book that you want less government intrusion. Yeah. Is that correct?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your pinhead friends in Hollywood, they want equality for everyone, which takes a massive government.
Well, I'm equality for everybody's great.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. I just think that individuals usually do a better job than the collective big government.
So you don't want the government to be telling you how to live and how not. That's kind of a libertarian position.
Well, it's funny. Does that make me a libertarian? I mean,
well, that's their philosophy.
I'm a Hollywood pinhead, Bill. I don't know about political labels.
The libertarians want less government and more personal freedom, which is, I think, what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So Rob Lowe, basically a Hollywood conservative. I want government to stop doing everything. I want to get the government out of our lives. I want to get rid of government. I want to reduce the size of government. The government does nothing but gum up our culture and gum up our lives. That's Rob Lowe. Hollywood sounding like Rand Paul. Focal Point AFR Talk. We'll be right back. 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. People wanting to weigh in on this issue of whether soldiers ought to be able to carry on bases. Love to hear what you think. 888-589-8840. Be right back.